Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies for the late start. We had our morning session went on quite a bit longer than we anticipated, but we shall proceed. Due to COVID-19, Committee of Adjustment public hearings are being conducted virtually by electronic means through WebEx Webinar, an online digital platform and streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. Participants who registered in advance will be able to make their presentations to the committee using WebEx Webinar, which is moderated by city staff. Anyone wishing to view the hearing can watch it on YouTube. Participants who have registered in advance will be connecting with their computer, tablet, smartphone, or telephone, and have the option of participating via video or audio only. All participants are automatically muted on entry. When your item is called, each participant is unmuted by city staff, one person at a time. We ask that you mute your devices until you are called on to speak. Those participating by video appearance will be temporarily upgraded to panelist when your item is being held. During this time, your camera will be enabled. You will only be visible during your 5-minute allotted speaking time. At all other times, your video will be disabled and you are reinstated as an attendee. Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. Members of the public and applicants are not allowed to use share screen or any other panelist controls during a video appearance. City staff will remove you from the panelist role if you fail to respect this instruction. For all those who are waiting online, please ensure that you have called in with the phone number that you originally registered with. If you call in with a different number, you will not be able to speak on the item. To ensure audio clarity, I suggest that you do not use the speakerphone function on your telephones. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. My name is Alan Smithies and I will chair today's meeting. Joining us on the panel today are Ron Hunt, Asif Khan, Paul Kidd, and Nadini Sankar Peralta. City staff are also present. Simon Lamb, Sam Mozignani, Daphne Davis, Alex Chu, and Chris Pereira. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning bylaw that apply to property, permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. Anyone attending today who wants to receive a copy of the committee's decision must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address because Committee of Adjustment and the TLAB will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the committee's decision, it may be appealed to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, TLAB, or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the committee's decision. The hearing procedure is as follows. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant will proceed with their presentation if desired. When the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak on the item. The committee may ask questions and or take the matter into the committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, is given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching the 5-minute limit. When addressing the committee, please state clearly your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters described in the application. The applicant or agent proceeds first and will make their presentation to the committee. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. To ensure that a revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes, the committee may decide to defer the application if it has been substantially revised. And individuals, either in support or opposed to the application, are invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or agent has an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the previous speakers. This marks the end of discussion on the item. The application is then taken into committee for a decision. Are there any committee members here this afternoon who have a conflict of interest they'd like to declare? None, thank you. We have, to begin with, we have a deferral request for the application at 2742 Bathurst Street, and that is application number 32. And I have the agent, let me just see. The agent is Richard Idles, I-D-E-L-S. Are you there, sir?
I'm on a meeting now. Yes, I am. I'm here.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
My name is Richard Idles, 80 North Meadow Crescent, Thornhill, Ontario, L4J 3B1.
Okay,
I'm the applicant. I'm an architect.
Okay, thank you, sir. I had a, I know, just going through your file here, I note that there are a couple of reports on file with your application. Actually, just the one from Transportation Services, which was recommending a deferral. They would like to see a parking impact study from your proposal. I just wanted to ask, is that the reason you're asking for the deferral, sir?
That's the reason. I just want to clarify, we actually have a study, but it's a number of years old, so we have to update it to be current.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'll just ask, does the committee have any questions of the speaker? No, I have one other person here registered to speak, and Amir Kohl, K-O-H-L. Are you there, sir? Amir Kohl.
I'm assuming he's not. Yeah, I'm assuming he's not. He's the administrator of the school, so I think I don't know. He'll be okay with this.
Okay, all right, thank you. We'll just go take this into committee. Can I get a motion on the deferral request, please?
Can I ask a question, a quick question, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman?
Yes.
When we defer, can we come back as quickly as we can?
Well, that's something I can't determine, sir. You'd be put on the next available meeting, which.
Oh, that's what I mean. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Secretary Treasurer, you can expand on that.
Through you, Mr. Chair, with regard to deferrals, the applications are rescheduled once the reason for deferral is fulfilled. So in this case, it's helpful if the reason for deferral is clarified, and then we can record it in the minutes. And once the reason for deferral is satisfied, this application will be rescheduled.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion on this application? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will move the deferral of this application sine die in order for the applicant sufficient time to provide a parking utilization study to the satisfaction of the Transportation Department.
Someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? Motion carries, sir. Your application has been deferred sine die so that you can meet with Transportation Services to address their concerns. Good luck, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go back to our original agenda. Item number 21, 140 Regina Avenue. And I have the agent for that one is Ali Shakiri. Are you there, sir? Mr. Shakiri, are you there?
Good afternoon, Ali Shakiri, 326 Shepherd Avenue.
Okay,
I'm
thank you,
here,
sir. Thank you, sir. I'm just going through your application here. I note that we have only one condition, that is from urban forestry. What you're asking for in your application is pretty straightforward. I'm just going to ask if there's anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon.
No comment on my side, sir, and the condition of the forestry is acceptable to us.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please, Mr.
Mr.
Khan?
Chair, we have another speaker
We do?
for this item, Ravindra,
Okay, hang on, I don't have him on the list here.
on the late registrant list.
Okay, well. No, he's not on here. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry, my apologies. Ravindra Lal, L-A-U-L.
We're trying to get in contact with this person.
Pardon me?
We're trying to get in contact with this
Okay.
person, so do you want to move on to the next
I'll
item?
move on to the next one, thank you. Move ahead to item number 22. 92 Dell Park Avenue. Okay, I have two people registered to speak. The agent is Glenn Rubinoff. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you, sir. I have, Mr. Rubinoff, can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, it's Glenn Rubinoff, Rubinoff Design Group, 18 Gloucester Lane, Toronto, Ontario.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm going through your application. I note that there is a 3 reports on file with your application. There's a recommended condition from Urban Forestry. There's a city planning report that has no objections to your application, subject to condition. But there's a transportation services report dated the 1st of September, which recommends refusing your variance regarding the driveway width. So if you'd like to give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Sure, thank you. Yes, this is an application for a new home. I think on file you have several letters of support as well. I know that they've spoken with the immediate neighbors who are fully in support, as well as behind and adjacent neighbors down the street and across the road. This is an application for a new home. The city planner in particular was called us. There was a variance for a third story, which she had some concerns with. But when we went through what the design looked like and how the impact was, and some of the comparables in the street and in the area, she agreed that it was compatible with redevelopment in the area, and asked us to tie it to, I believe, to elevations. Basically, it was triggered by a room over the garage, but otherwise it does fall into that category of being similar to other redevelopments on the street. And based on that, and we also had to, I want to address the driveway. If we could zoom in a little bit on the driveway there, on that site plan. There's a tree right in the middle there, and the driveway, we had to shift it over in order to avoid impacting that city tree. As a result of that, we had to widen it past the tree in order to get it to the garage. That created a variance for driveway width. So it's one of those scenarios where it's not intentional. It's just an ability. We're trying to preserve the tree and work around it, and that's where the variance is. It comes from, and that it's not an intention to have a massive driveway throughout. It's just where the opening is by the driveway, by the garage door. I think overall, just generally, I think this fits into what's happening in the neighborhood here, and I feel that it is respectful of the neighborhood. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Ronald Weiss, W-E-I-S-S. Are you there?
Ron, you have been unmuted. You should be able to speak.
Ronald Weiss, are you there? Ronald Weiss, are you there? one more time. Ronald Weiss, are you there?
Mr. Chair, Simon's going to try calling him.
Okay. Can we go back? Can we go back to item 21 and try Ravinder Lal? No? Okay. We'll just, yeah.
Mr. Chair, let's move on.
Okay, we're unable to get a hold of Mr. Weiss, so we're going to move on. I'll just ask, does the committee have any questions of Mr. Rube, of the applicant? There being none, if I could get a motion on this application, please. Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. After listening to Mr. Rubinoff, I'm just reading here that transportation services consider variance number 2 is not minor, and they have suggested refusal of this application. Staff recommends a certain way, but I find variance number 2 is not minor, which is transportation report. Number 5, 3-story zoning bylaw does not allow. Variance number 11, building height exceeds more than allowable. And variance number 2, 5, and 11 fail to comply zoning bylaws and official plan. Therefore, I move this application be refused.
I have a motion for Mr. Khan to refuse the application. Can I get someone to second that? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously refused.
Okay, thank you.
We're now back, now on 98, item number 23, 98 RANEE Avenue. 38 RANEE Avenue. I have the agent Ida Evangelista. Are you there?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'm here.
Yes, thank you, madam.
Hello?
Just going through your application, we have only comments were from urban forestry, which has the recommended condition.
Mm-hmm.
Your variances are pretty straightforward. I'll just ask, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
Through you, Mr. Chair, members, my submission package outlines all the variances that we are asking for. This does meet characteristic of the neighborhood, the prevailing pattern and prevailing characteristics of the neighborhood. So I feel that what we're proposing is in line with the reinvestment that's taking place in this neighborhood.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, I agree with the agent. I do believe that this is, characteristic for the area, and it does seem minor in nature. I do believe it meets the 4 tests, so a motion to approve this application, making it subject to forestry only.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Madam, your application's been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry. We're now on to item number 24, 207 Clanton Park Road. I have one person registered to speak. That's Joe Domb, D-O-M-B. Are you there, sir? Mr. Domb, are you there? D-O-M-B.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Can I get your full name and address?
My name is Joe Dome, 133 Torresdale Avenue, agent for the owners.
Okay, thank you, sir. Just going through your application, I note there are no staff comments or condition. You have one variance before us related to lot area. Pretty clear what you're asking for. Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
I have a short presentation, but if everything is okay to proceed, then I'm okay with that.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Dome, my question is very simple. What elevation drawing shows front and its orientation? I mean the direction, north, south, east, west.
So on the site plan, you can see on the site plan, the addition is to the north side.
So north is on the downside, right?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, can I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I believe this is a straightforward application. There's no department comments or concerns, so I would move approval.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Hunt. Someone to second that? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? Mr. Khan, are you in favor? No, okay. Opposed? Mr. Khan dissenting. Sir, your application has been approved without condition. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
We're on item number 10, item number 25, 10 Chipping Road. I have 5 people registered to speak. The agent is a Moran Hadari, Heydari. Are you there?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I'm here.
Yes, thank you. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Mehran Heydari, 1090 Dartmouth Road, Unit 506, Norfolk, Ontario.
Okay, thank you, sir. I've gone through your file. I note there's 3 reports listed with your application. There's a recommended conditions from urban forestry. There's a planning report dated the 1st of September, which has no objections to your application, subject to a condition. And there's a transportation services report dated the 1st of September, which has no objections to your application, subject to a standard condition about closing and restoring driveways. We have 4 other people registered to speak, sir, so if you'd like to give us a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Yes, thank you. First of all, I accepted all the condition and the report, and also if you look at the supporting material that I submitted on August 31st about the drawing, yes, exactly. If you see the coverage that we applied is approved in the neighborhood more than what we proposing right now. And I have a letter of objection from the neighborhood, and the owner actually tried to talk with them, and they prefer to talk in the hearing. And I'm answering some of the concern of the opposition neighbors. So first of all, we have the 9 address that registered for the opposition, but the letter is more. Some of them sent 2 or 3 times the opposition letter. And what we applied here, because of the definition of the first floor, the zoning examiner considered the finished first floor at the rear of the garage. And for that reason, we have the 3-story based on this bylaw. But actually, if you look at the elevation, we have just 2-story, and the staff recommend to tie the elevation to the decision. So it obviously is a 2-story. We don't have the 3-story in that house. And we are okay with the tying the elevation to the decision. And also the setback from the side street that is the concern of the neighbors. We proposed the side yard variance setback because it's a corner lot and we have no negative impact with the reducing the side yard setback because the side street. And if you look at the east side of the property, there is a big tree and major trees and it's blocking the projection of the building to the street. And I believe this application has less impact for the neighborhood and the driveway that we moved to the other side because the other side of the street is the busiest street, so we moved the driveway to the other side. So I believe this application is very reasonable and I did the design based on what I believe it's good for the neighborhood. If there is any question, I'm more than happy to answer.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Do-Yun Cho, C-H-O. Are you there?
Hi, committee.
Yes, hello.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can I get your full name and address?
My name is Do-Yun Jo, residing at the 12 Chipping Road.
Okay, thank you,
Working
sir.
on 10 Chipping Road.
If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application,
Yes,
please proceed.
yes. My family would like to deliver our concerns about the variances to zoning bylaw proposed by the owner of 10 Chipping Road, located at the intersection of two main roads, Chipping and Farncott Roads, near Mills Road. The proposed variances will have negative impacts on our neighborhood, as noted below, which resulted from not respecting the characteristics of our long-established community. First, I'd like to make comments on the architectural plans after I looked into them. In site plan, the building footprint has not been represented not from the ground floor perimeter, but from the basement one. The walls at southeast corner and in the east side, overhung from the basement wall, are not shown in site plan. That led me to think that main floor and footprint area should be greater than basement floor one. However, all the areas are described identically in zoning data matrix. It also affects rear yard setback 12.21 meter to 11.48 meter as per the architecture plans. Regarding recasted variances of zoning bylaw. Firstly, the proposed three-story house is not minor change and there has been no other three-story house in our area to the best of my knowledge. It causes conflicts with the surrounding neighbors composed of many one-story bungalows in sunlight, privacy, and views. Also, it will set a precedent for further development in the area. Secondly, the proposed 17.79 square meter platform is 4.45 times greater than the permitted maximum area per square meter. We do not think this should be permitted, as it's not minor change, or the size of the platform of the covered deck, along with the extensive glazing areas facing the abutting neighbors, should be considered. Keep the privacy of other bungalows. Their lives in backyards and the interiors could be exposed. Those on the higher floor of the newly proposed house. Thirdly, the building footprint will protrude onto Chipping Road 5.69 meter further than the adjacent bungalow. The building is so close to Chipping Road, only 1.98 meter to the property line, which impacts the openness and the spacing of the long-established streetscape. That will result in low visibility for drivers and pedestrians and bring safety issues. That will result in our loss of sunlight access as well. There are materials I'd like to discuss to support my point, which highlights our main concern about the shadow covering our bedrooms and basement. I'm sorry if I had to upload the materials before the meeting, but unfortunately, I didn't know I had to. We did a graphic simulation on the shadow study of 10 Chipping Road and our house 12 Chipping Road in the afternoon throughout 1 year. According to our shadow study, from September to March, our bedrooms and our basement are shadowed by the new building. Can I share a shadow study from my computer?
Sorry, Duyan, we
Hello?
can only share what we have on our computers here. It would have had to be sent in advance.
Okay, I see. Lastly, the ground floor level is 1.2 meter and the second floor level is 4.92 meter above the established grade. The eye level of a standing person is about 6.6 meter at the second floor. This concerns our neighbors and our families about privacy, since most of the surrounding
Sir, can you
houses are
summarize,
one
please?
street level. Sorry?
Can you summarize, please?
Therefore, we thank you for the opportunity to provide comments and concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Go to the next person on the list. I have a Leighton or Patricia Morgan. Are you there? Leighton or Patricia? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, Mr. Chair, thank you very much.
Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yeah, it's Leighton Hugh Morgan, 11 Chipping Road, North York, right across the street.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Leighton, we have you registered as speaking through video. Did you want to use your webcam or did you just want to proceed with voice?
Oh, I'll proceed with voice. It's okay. You don't need to see me. I'm not that good looking.
Thank you.
Please proceed.
Okay, so I think my points are just going to echo I think the previous speaker, and just for emphasis sake, I think what we're looking at is a bit of a disaster for the neighborhood. Right now the owner of the property has a 3-bedroom bungalow and operates it as a rooming house, and there are cars, 4 cars in the driveway. Now it's going to be like a 7-bedroom, 7-bathroom rooming house with 2 driveways, one on Farm Coat and one on Chipping. So there are going to be lots and lots of cars in the neighborhood and people coming and going. The biggest issue I think for us on the opposite side of the road is the fact that by reorienting the house, you're going to move automatically. You get the side of the house allowed to move closer to Chipping Road, and then they're asking for a variance on top of that. So the current house is probably, I would estimate, about 10 meters back from Chipping Road. So by reorienting the house, you get to go to 3 meters, and they're asking for 2. So, we're going to be seeing a house that is now 10 meters set back, in line with all the other houses on the street. And suddenly that house is going to jump to 2 meters back if the variance is granted. And the biggest issue with that is going to be both drainage and it's going to be traffic, because if you pull out from Farm Coat onto Chipping, which is a fairly busy suburban intersection, you're not going to be able to look down the left-hand side to see all the from Chipping Road moving on to Don Mills Road. So that's a danger both to pedestrians, to cyclists, and to drivers. The biggest issue I see of the big driveway being on Farm Coat is that the drainage on Farm Coat is already problematic. We're continually having to hack away at the ice on the drainage on Farm Coat, and this is going to add significantly to the amount of water that's going to flood that drain. Farm Coat is frequently flooded at the intersection because of the poor drainage.
Sir, the committee doesn't deal with drainage issues. If this application is approved, the applicant has to submit a lot grading plan that shows that all his stormwater is managed properly on site. So I suggest you focus on other matters other than drainage.
Well, then I will say then that the biggest issue for us is how close that property is going to Chipping Road. It's going to block sunlight. It's going to be an eyesore because it's not going to line up with the rest of the houses on the street. And the big platform overhead is going to be an invasion of the privacy for everybody on the street.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Jan Houston or Ian Graham. Are you there?
Hello, it's Ian Graham.
Yes, hello. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, it's Ian Graham at 9 Farmcote Road.
Okay, thank you, sir. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to provide feedback on the proposed development at 10 Chipping Road. I and my wife, Jan Houston, have lived at 9 Farmcote Road on the corner from the development for over 30 years. We provided a written submission and reviewed other submissions and documentation, the other submissions and documentation, but it's unclear that the city staff reports and documentation, it's unclear to us whether or not our concerns have been addressed. So we'd like to highlight our 3 major concerns and suggested recommendations here. First, our biggest issue is the significantly reduced setback from Chipping Road that's been proposed. We're concerned that if approved, this variance will set a precedent in the neighborhood for this type of reduced setback, and that speaks to the 2 previous speakers. However, our major concern about bringing the house so close to the street, Chipping Road, is that it will impede visibility for pedestrians, cyclists, and drivers turning onto Chipping Road from Farmcote Road. As I said, we've lived on Farmcote Road for over 30 years, and we know from experience that drivers on Chipping Road regularly speed past Farmcote Road to make the green light onto Don Mills Road. We believe that bringing the house forward as proposed would result in a significant safety hazard, and recommend that the plans be assessed by Transportation Services before the Committee of Adjustment makes a decision on this variance. Our second main concern is the impact of this proposed plan on the trees on the property and adjacent properties. In particular, we're concerned about the removal of one of the catalpa trees and the potential injury to a second catalpa and the olive tree on city property. We recommend that a city-approved arborist or qualified city staff review the plans to ensure that the proposed variances are consistent with Toronto's Strategic Forest Management Plan before the Committee of Adjustment makes a decision on the requested variances. Our third main concern is the overall size and height of the proposed development. In our opinion, the proposed variances for this are not minor and are substantially different than the size and design of the properties in the immediate area, including those houses with second stories. The size and positioning of this new proposed property will significantly reduce the sunlight and privacy of the neighboring homes. If approved, this would establish an unwelcome precedent for future building that could negatively impact the neighborhood. And we recommend the Committee of Adjustment require the plan be scaled back accordingly to take this into account. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Len Brown. Are you there, sir? Mr. Brown, are you there?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Can I get your full
good.
name
Thank
and
you.
address, please?
My name is Len Brown. I'm one of the owners at 3 Farmcote Road in Toronto, immediately adjacent to the 10 Chipping proposal.
Okay, if you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
My wife and I are both the residents of 3 Farmcote who share the northern boundary with 10 Chipping. We have made our submissions, which I know that the Committee of Adjustment will thoroughly review. In our opinion, this proposal represents a collective major variance. There are a cumulative 6 variances, which includes a major change to the location of a driveway and the reorientation of the home. To the owner of this property, we were not necessarily opposed to a new building. We would, however, request that a house that is rebuilt, that it be built to scale within the neighborhood and within the regulations. As much as we know that the 10 chipping owner wants to move on with their plans, we also have to consider carefully how this request to build goes beyond the zoning parameters and how it impacts us and our neighborhood. We don't object to the front of the house facing farm coat in some ways, except we do have some real severe concerns about the driveway location. We also understand that this house now may block light to our front patio, and we might agree to this as long as the setback is not decreased any further, as it would compromise our treasured front garden. With respect to the size of the house is well beyond the physical characteristics of the neighborhood. New homes in this neighborhood are typically built as 2 stories in height. The 32 feet in height will certainly dwarf both the adjacent bungalows, our bungalow and the one at 12 Chipping.
Ours is 10 feet.
Ours is only 10 feet in height, and so you can see the discrepancy. We think that the height of the house will also have implications on the neighboring properties. The increase also of this house also comes with a requested very large covered raised deck. It's totally out of character with the neighborhood. There's only 24 feet in the backyard from the property line to the steps of this large raised deck. And I can see why the owner of 12 Chipping might have concerns with light, privacy, and noise levels.
As we do.
And we do too. We already don't have a lot of sun in the back, and we anticipate having even less should this proposal go forward. The side yard setbacks, we recommend that setbacks on Chipping and our property being increased
From 8 feet.
To 8 feet.
No,
From 8 feet to 15 feet. The 8-foot side back is we have some real concerns with respect to grading. And I know that earlier I heard that isn't within your purview, but certainly it's a concern of ours. Regarding the property line, we have lived here for 12 years. And the current fence line, when we bought this, there was no dispute with respect to where the fence was, but I noticed on the new site that and the survey that it's now changed. Now, when we were told when we bought the property, there were no encroachments. So we certainly and we had no opportunity really to get legal counsel to dispute this. But we certainly have some concerns with respect to that. The driveway, we note that the Transportation Division seems to approve this new driveway on the basis that the farm code is a lower order street. We question that. Most of and Ian mentioned it earlier, most of the people live on the farm code side of the intersection at Chipping and farm code. And all of the feeder streets, there's much more feeder streets coming off of Chipping or coming off of farm code than there's Chipping. Farm code is the major street that takes you through the neighborhood from the north and the south off of Down Mills. And I agree with Ian that this is going to be a major potential hazard, both to commuters and also drivers.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any
I've just got one other.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I've got a little bit more, please. With respect to the trees, it's really very questionable whether the request to remove that northern catalpa needs to be removed. We did have the city arborist in, and they said that that tree was healthy. So I don't know where their arborist came up with this concept. We also know that there's a large maple tree that has not been talked about in between our two properties. It's
Okay,
in excess of 30
sir,
centimeters.
Can you summarize? Your 5 minutes is up.
Okay.
So in summary, I would respectfully ask the Committee of Adjustment to deny this request, send it back and ask the owners to come in with one that meets the regulations. From our
Okay, thank you,
perspective,
sir.
these
Thank you.
regulations.
Go back. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Go back to the agent, Mr. Hadari. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
You've heard the comments from the previous speakers. If you'd like to reply.
Yes, sure. With the respect of all neighbors, I need to explain that I followed everything by the professional. First of all, this application for the zoning we submitted a year ago, and because of the tree and concern of the neighbor, we went to the professional arborist and went to the city urban forestry and get approved the drawing and get the permit for injure or removal of the tree that is not good trees on the property. So we didn't do anything that may affect in the future the trees. And also about the driveway, we moved the driveway to the other street, flanking street, to the shorter part of the property line. And this is what you see on the transportation report. They are supporting this movement because the traffic and also the length of the driveway is longer on the side street, and they are okay. And it has less impact because of the parking the car on the other side of the street comes to the inside of the property. And in the side yard, when we have the driveway on the side, the car that is stopping on the driveway, blocking the view and going to the property close to the chipping road. And actually is supportive to have the driveway in the other side of the street. And if you look at the survey, we don't have the walkway on the side of the chipping road, beside the chipping road. For this reason, it's better we have the driveway in the other side. And also, this property is the reverse corner lot. So the setback for any property that's built in this neighborhood is 6 feet, 1.8 meter. And right now what we have is 1.98 meter, more than 1.8 meter. It's just because of the definition of the bylaw, that is the reverse corner lot, we need to 3 meter setback. And as I explained in my original and previous presentation, so there is a mature tree in the east side of the property that blocking the neighbors, and this less side yard setback has no negative impact of the property. And about the height that they mentioned about the height, we don't have the height variance. And also in the new bylaw, we are not exceeding the new bylaw height, and we are not exceeding the soffit wall height. Most of the application that you have, we have the sidewall height variance for some window, but in this application, we don't have it because the house is just a 2-story. And also the height that we have on the variance number 6 is old bylaw. That is because of the different level of the center of the street and established grade and average grade of the building. And they have concern about one of the opposition have concern about the balcony area. The balcony area that we have, again, because the zoning examiner considered the basement as a main floor, consider the first floor as a second floor, and the deck in the backyard considered as a second floor balcony that is exceeding the bylaw 4 square meter. But actually, this is the deck and is lower than 1.2 meter height on the backyard. And as you know, we can go up to the 5% of the property size for the deck. That is almost 34 square meter. That we have 18, less than 18 square meter rear deck in the backyard that is not exceeding the height based on the bylaw. Yeah, that's it. If there is any other question, I'm more than happy to answer.
Yes, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask, just to clarify, with respect to the building fundamentals, the building depth, the building length, the floor area, the overall building height, all of those comply with the new bylaw, 569-2013. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have a question with regard to the driveways. Is there one driveway for this property or two?
Just one.
Because on the site plan, it shows in between the two interlocking brick walkways that run out to Chipping Road, it shows asphalt driveway.
It's the original driveway that's on the survey. It's not for the new proposed drawing.
Okay, so that's existing and it's to be removed, is that correct?
Yes, actually, this is a condition of the transportation as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I feel that this application meets the four tests for minor variance and is appropriate development for the neighborhood. I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application subject to the September 1st staff report, condition that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the front elevation drawing attached to the planning staff report, subject to forestry condition, and also subject to the transportation services condition that the property, they add a notation to the site plan drawing stating that all portions of the existing site access driveways that are no longer required must be closed and restored with soft landscaping and full concrete curbs to the satisfaction of transportation services.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Hunt dissenting. Sir, your application is approved subject to transportation services, city planning, and urban forestry conditions. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you. We're now on item number 379 Glengarry Avenue. I have two people registered to speak. The agent is Ali Shakiri. Are you there, sir?
Yes, sir. Ali Shafiri, 326 Shepherd Avenue. Good afternoon.
Okay, thank you, sir. I have only one condition, one city report on file with your application. That's a recommended condition from urban forestry. We do have one other person registered to speak, sir, so if you could give us a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
So this is a very straightforward application from our side. We've done our study, case studies attached, showing some evidence in the close proximity, and I basically have no comments. I'd like to listen to any comment or objection from anybody else that is registered as a speaker. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person on the list. I have Tom Opara. Are you there?
Hi there, I'm here.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
It's Tom Opera, 371 Glengarry Avenue.
Okay, thank you, sir. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Okay, the application, it is fairly straightforward. However, it doesn't address the very large rear yard tree. On the survey provided by the applicant, the tree is 0.75 meters in diameter, and it's going to be located approximately 1.5 meters away from the excavation line for the basement walkout, and approximately 3 meters away from the back wall of the house. The tree protection bylaw indicates that with that size diameter tree, a minimum 4.8 meters of protection distance is required. So my concern is, based on the house being the size it is, it's encroaching on the tree. Now, as a homeowner, adjacent, not right adjacent, but even the homeowners on each side of the property, we have no issue if the tree is removed for this development and the house set back so it matches the 6-meter front yard setback of the new house that's on the east side of it. The existing house to the west side of it is an old bungalow, which will eventually be torn down. And all the other houses in our area are at a 6-meter setback. So we'd like to see the tree cut down and removed. We don't have a problem with that because it will die ultimately anyways. And based on the siting of the house, it doesn't meet, the house can't be built to meet the tree protection bylaw. I know it's not listed in the urban forestry report, unfortunately, but as you can see from the site plan and the survey provided by the applicant, it's a very large tree of 0.75 diameter, cutting all the roots 1.5 meters away and well within the drip line of the tree could actually cause the tree to come over one day. So we'd like to see the tree removed, the house set back to 6-meter setback. And other than that, we really don't have objection with the proposed new dwelling.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go back to Mr. Shakiri. Mr. Shakiri, are you there?
Yes, sir. The tree on the discussion is in conflict with as of right construction area, and it is required to be removed, actually. So that's why my client has filed the application to remove that tree. It will certainly be granted, and so I hear from the neighbors that that is what they wish to happen as well. And in this case, I repeat that that is in conflict with as of right construction zone, and as such has to be removed to basically eliminate any sort of hazard or danger to this house, the proposed house, and also the neighbors.
Can I ask, sir, what condition is that tree in? Is it healthy?
I'm not quite sure. I don't think if it's healthy, but what I know is that my client has been in contact with the forestry. I've been, I guess, copied on another email that the forestry has no objection on removing the tree pending the outcome of this hearing for the variances.
Okay, thank you, sir.
But I don't think if it's fair condition, but but not for either. I cannot confirm it, to be honest.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. Very rarely do we hear neighbors that support a tree being taken down. But again, forestry has no concerns, and it will still be subject to forestry anyway under condition number 3. So I'll put forward a motion to approve this application and make it subject to forestry. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry conditions.
Thank you very much. Although I have a question, sir, I was just wondering when the panel would go back to my previous case that was not heard completely because of...
That was item number 21. I'll just ask Mr. Pereira. Does it look like there's any luck on getting hold of the...
Mr. Chair, I've reached out, but I haven't received any response, so I don't think they're participating.
I think, and there's not so much as an echo from him?
Nothing at all.
Mr. Chair, if I may add, he did write a letter, so we can read the letter which states what his concerns were.
Okay, thank you.
There is a letter on file.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. I think we'll go back to item number, we've done our due diligence to get hold of this individual. I don't want to hold them up anymore. We'll go back to item 21, which is 140 Regina Avenue. That was, yes, the agent was Ali Shakiri. Mr. Shakiri, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here, Ali Shakiri, 326 Shepherd Avenue East, for the record.
Yeah, just a moment, sir. Again, what you're asking for, it's pretty clear in the variances we have before us. Is there anything more you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
No, sir, except as Ms. Sankar mentioned, I see a letter from a neighbor to the east mentioning that they do not want the eaves overhang on the property, and that is that is not allowed actually under section 10.540.60 of the zoning bylaw. The eaves cannot be closer than 30 centimeters to the property line. In this case, we have exceeded that amount to 75 centimeters, which is more than that. So there's absolutely no concern of any eaves being nearly projecting into the neighbor's property, and it is not allowed anyways, and we have exceeded the amount, the minimum amount required by the zoning bylaw.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's a straightforward application, and I will move it for approval with the forestry conditions.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Khan. Just to confirm that, you move approval subject to forestry?
Yes, sir.
Our seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. So your application has been unanimously approved subject to urban forestry conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I'll go back to our agenda, item number 27, which is 90 Rowe Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That is, let me go back. That is Murat Ozgur, O-Z-G-U-R. Are you there, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Murat Ozgur, and my address is 231 Joyce Boulevard, North York, Ontario.
Okay, thank you, sir. I note that there's a couple of reports on file with your application. One from Urban Forestry, recommended condition. There's a report from City Planning dated the 30th of August, which recommends some changes to your variances. I just wanted to know, sir, if you've had the opportunity to review those reports.
Of course, sir. We already speak with the City Planning, and I already sent them a new site plan, eliminating some of the variances as requested by them.
Sir,
so I can go over them.
Sir, before you go any further, are there any changes you want to make to your application as described in the planning report?
Exactly, sir. Yes.
So if we could, if we can go through those changes one by one and read them into the record, please.
Yes, sir. So I'm going by one. So just a minute. I can't. So first one, number one, which is in the residential zones category, a platform without main walls. Okay, all right. So number one, we're going to eliminate.
Okay. So variance number one, are you proposing to eliminate it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so variance one is deleted. Variance
number two will be eliminated as well.
Variance number two is deleted. Variance number six.
Variance number six will be eliminated.
Okay, 6 is deleted.
And variance number 7 will be revised as the proposed eaves project 0.25 meters and are 0.20 meters from the west side yard lot line.
So what is that being changed to?
So let me read what is here. So number 7 says roof eaves may project a maximum of 0.9 meters provided that they are no closer than 0.30 meters to a lot line.
Okay,
So here it says the proposed. Yes, sir.
Sir, can you go through variance number 7? Right now it reads, the proposed eaves project 0.25 meters and are 0.05 meters from the west side yard lot line. What do you want that to read?
It will be the proposed eaves project 0.25 meters and are 0.20 meters from the west side lot yard line.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other changes?
No, these are the changes, sir.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to, I think that's pretty clear. I'll just ask, is there anything that, what you're asking for in the variances is pretty clear. Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan.
Mr. Oscar, it's a semi-detached house?
Yes, sir. The other 192 row will be the next file. These two houses are semi-detached, and both owners agreed to demolish and build 2 new detached houses.
I was going to ask, sir, just to follow up on Mr. Khan's motion. You're creating 2 separate, on 90 and 92, there's going to be 2 separate single-family homes, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I've noticed that the separation between 90 and 92 is barely 1 foot. Is there a reason for that? Because you could barely fit a piece of paper between the buildings.
No, we change it. So both properties will be 45, so 0.45 meters away from each other. That's why we eliminate all these variances, sir.
Okay, all right, that's good to know. Thank you. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this application, Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. I believe with the changes that are made, according to the staff recommendations, this seems to be acceptable to me, and for me, it meets the 4 tests. So I'll put forward a motion to approve this application. First of all, I'll make it subject to forestry. And secondly, subject to the changes made today by the applicant in that variances 1, 2, and 6 are deleted, and variance number 7 now reads 0.20 meters from the west side yard lot line. And this will also be include a condition that the property be developed substantially in accordance with the revised site plan drawing submitted to the committee.
Ms. Sankar, for the record, can you just repeat the changes?
I'm sorry.
So the changes are variances number 1, 2, and 6 are deleted, and variance number 7 now reads, the proposed eaves project 0.25 meters and are 0.20 meters from the west side yard lot line.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sankar, thank you. Can I get someone to say, Mr. Khan seconds? All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your revised application has been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry and city planning conditions.
Thank you.
Now on item number 2, which is 92 Rowe Avenue, which is the companion application to this one. And again, the same agent, Mr. Oscar, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Oscar, I note that, again, there's 2 reports on file with your application. One from Urban Forestry and one from City Planning, dated the 30th of August, and there's a recommended condition from Urban Forestry. Again, I assume you've also read that report from City Planning?
Yes, sir.
So are there any changes that you'd like to make to the application?
Yes, sir. We will change some of the variances. Some of them will be eliminated.
Okay, so can you just read them into the record, please?
Sure. So number 1 will be eliminated, will be deleted.
So that's variance number 1 is deleted. Okay.
Number two will be deleted.
Number 2 is deleted. Okay,
Number three
I'm sorry.
will be deleted.
Number 3 is deleted.
Number 3.
Oh, pardon me.
Number 7.
Sir, can I back up? Was that 3 or 6?
3, sir. Number 3.
Okay, number 3 is deleted.
Yes, sir. Number 7 will be deleted.
Deleted, okay. Now,
And number 10 will be revised.
okay, how are you proposing to just a moment here. How are you proposing to revise number 10?
Okay. I'm reading what is here now. Roof eaves may project a maximum of 0.9 meters provided that they are no closer than 0.3 meters to a lot line. The proposed eaves project 0.25 meters and are 0.05 meters from the east side yard lot line.
Okay.
This part will be revised as roof eaves may project a maximum of 0.9 meters provided that they are no closer than 0.3 meters to a lot line. The proposed eaves project 0.25 meters and 0.2 meters from the east side yard lot line.
Okay, so just to clarify, variance number 10, the proposed eave, which currently reads, the proposed eaves project 0.25 meters and are 0.05 meters from the east side yard lot line. You're proposing to change that to read, the proposed eaves project 0.25 meters and are 0.20 meters from the east side yard lot line. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And there was also, in the planning report, they were proposing, recommending that you eliminate variance number 6, which was the floor space index of 0.77 times the area of the lot. Are you proposing to delete that, that variance?
Sir, I don't see that.
It was in the recommendation. It says that it was proposed by the applicant. Are you proposing to delete variance number 6?
No, sir.
Okay.
But I can't see that, sir. I can't see that here.
It's in the, let me just check the staff report, but that's where it was.
Yes.
Let me just find it here. I'm sorry, sir, my mistake, my apologies. Nope, never mind. That was my mistake. You've done what they requested to do. Okay, thank you. Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee, sir, that isn't contained in the material that we have before us this afternoon?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just had a question about the variance number 10. I'm looking at it, and the staff report seems to recommend that that variance be refused.
No.
Not amended.
No, this.
Oh, hang on. Oh, right. Okay, in the recommendation section, they say they want it refused, but in the comment section, I'm just looking at the comment section here now, they say that they want it modified to 0.2 meters.
Yeah, so
there's a problem with that.
As long as they recommended refusal if the applicant didn't make the modifications as he suggested, which he has done.
Oh, okay. Okay, my mistake. Thanks.
Thank you. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question is about variance number 9. Transportation Services is recommending for refusal. Any comment on that?
Sure. Yes, they say to be refused, but as you can see in the site plan, we are not proposing a new driveway. It's the existing driveway. And the reason to keep the existing driveway is to protect that tree at the front yard. So if you can zoom that site plan, you can see that the existing driveway is kept. So we are not proposing any new driveway there.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Is the, any further questions of the speaker? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question relates, it's an expansion on Mr. Khan's. In the transportation services, they're suggesting that there's a proposed driveway widening to 4.53 meters from a maximum of 3.2. And that, I think that's the basis on which they're recommending refusal. So my question is the existing driveway 4.53 meters in width?
Yeah.
Or not?
Mr. Hunt?
Yes, sir. You can, if you can.
I'm sorry, sir. Go
Can
ahead.
we look at the site plan again, sir? So as you see, even there is a portion on the east side which is shaded. That part is still a part of the driveway. So that part, I am even removing that part. So normally the existing driveway is wider than 4.53. And we are removing even that part. The only part that is new proposed is close to the house. That's, as you can see over there, there's a new small portion that is proposed. Normally this house has the existing driveway, and also the existing asphalt driveway continues all the way to the side yard. So we are removing that side yard as well.
Sir, if the actual width of 4.53, that's entirely on private property. The width of the driveway in the road allowance is the existing width, correct?
Exactly, so it's on our private lot sites. It's not the transportation site.
And I had, if I recall from my site visit up there, this type of arrangement isn't unusual on this street. There's lots of them up and down the street.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this application, please? This revised application, let's just go through it one more time to make sure we got it right. Variance number 1 has been deleted. Variance number 2 has been deleted. Variance number 3 has been deleted. Variance number 7 has been deleted. Variance number 10 has been modified has been changed from the proposed eaves project 0.25 meters and our 0.05 meters from the east side yard lot line to read the eaves project 0.25 meters and our 0.20 meters from the east side yard lot line. So if I could get a motion on this revised application, please. Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I think you've already gone through the amendments, so I would not repeat them, but I will motion as revised. I do believe that this meets the 4 tests, and so I'll make a motion to approve this application with the amendments that you've already cited, and one additional condition around including that this be developed substantially in accordance with the revised site plan drawing submitted to the committee, and it be subject to forestry. I accept the explanations about transport. That's my motion.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously, sir. Your revised application has been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry and city planning conditions.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, sir. Item number 29, 275 Brook Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That's Anthony Bartolini. Are you there, sir? Excuse me.
Hello, yes, I am.
Okay, thank you, sir. Could I get your full name and address, please?
Yeah, my name is Anthony Bartolini, and I reside at 1204 Hill Street in Innisfil.
Okay, thank you, sir. I've gone through your file. I note that there's a city planning report there dated the 25th of August, which recommends modifying variance number 1 for the proposed rear yard soft landscaping from 32.5% to 43.2%. Did you have an opportunity to read that, sir?
I did, yes, yeah. I had some discussions with the planning department there, and we have no issue with that modification at all.
And would you like to make that modification to your variance?
Yes, I would. Thank you.
So we're modifying it to read the proposed rear yard soft landscaping area is 43.2%. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Thank you, sir. Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
I think the staff report outlines the proposal. So I don't have any additional comments to add, but I'm more than happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. I think this is really simple and acceptable with the amendments made by the agent here today. I will motion to approve this application and make it subject to the changes that he's made, in that his variance now, the soft landscaping is increased to 43.2%. And that's my motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a 5-minute break. 10. Back in 10 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, committee's back in session. We're now on item number 30, 28 Ronin Avenue. I have two people registered to speak. And the first are the owners, Jean or Richard Lee. Are you there?
Mr. Chair, this is Mike. The name was wrong on the
Representing
list.
Ronin Avenue.
Hello?
Hello, my name is Mike D'Oliveira. I'm here representing the owners
Okay,
that you
thank
did, Richard and Jean.
Can I get your full name and address, please?
It's Mike D'Oliveira. I'm with Replacement Design located at 911 Davenport Road.
Okay, thank you, sir. I have just gone through your file. I note that there are no staff comments or conditions listed in connection with what you're proposing. You have 3 variances before us. It's pretty clear what you're asking for. I note that we have one other person registered to speak on this, so if you'd like to give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Certainly. So we're seeking relief to the bylaw today to create a 2-story rear addition. We believe the variances we're seeking are in line with similar approvals the committee has made in the past, and our clients have spoken to many of the neighbors in the neighborhood, collecting a total of 6 letters in support. As you had mentioned, there are no objections from any other city departments. We tried to keep things in line with the zoning bylaws as much as possible here. As mentioned, we only have 3 variances. All of these variants are quite minor when you take into account the existing condition of the home. 2 of these variances relate to side setback and eave setback. These are both in line with the current setback of the home. We're not proposing anything more than what is currently there. The existing setback is 0.32, which is the same as our proposal. And the eave setback we're actually improving on, as the current use projects slightly over the property line on the houses towards the right-hand side of our property. So we've actually stepped in the roof on the addition slightly to keep the eaves and eaves trough within our client's property itself. Our soft landscaping is also relatively unchanged from the existing condition. Our proposed addition and deck is actually going to be built over what is currently hard landscaping anyway, so the actual change to the soft landscaping is really a percentage in just the way that the city calculates what's considered rear yard space versus what was the existing condition. So with our new addition technically pushing that rear yard area further back, it changes the percentages, but the overall landscape area is actually remaining exactly the same. Opening any questions you might have at the moment.
Just wanted to ask, sir, you have a mutual right-of-way along your would be your south lot line. Are you proposing any building encroachments into that right-of-way?
No, we're actually just short of the right-of-way with the addition. It's going to be essentially along the side of that, but it is set in a couple inches from that right-of-way setback.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I have next person on the list is Reiko Komanemi. Are you there? Reiko Komanemi.
Yes, I'm here, but I don't have any questions.
Yes, hello. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, Reiko Kominami, R-E-I-K-O, K-O-M-I-N-A-M-I, 26 Ronin Avenue, Toronto.
Okay, thank you, madam. If you could give us your thoughts on this application?
No, I was just listening to a proposal. That's all. That's why I'm here.
Mr. Chair, she's just listening.
Pardon me?
She doesn't have any comments. She's just listening to the proceedings.
Oh, okay. Thank you, madam. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We have no further speakers. I'll just go back to the committee. Does the committee have any questions of the applicant? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, I think that this application is really simple, and I expect I accept a lot of the explanations provided by the agent here today about existing conditions, etc. And so for that reason, I believe it meets the 4 tests, no objections from anyone. So I'll put forward a motion to approve this application as is. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Okay, our next one is item number 31, 106 WANLESS Avenue. I have one person registered to speak, and that's Michaela Silva. Are you there?
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. Yes, I'm here. My name is Michaela Silva from 31 Lacey Avenue, and I am the applicant for 106 WANLESS Avenue.
Okay, thank you, madam. I've gone through your file. I note that there's a couple of reports here. There's one from Transportation Services dated the 1st of September. They have no objection to the proposed front yard parking. There's also a report from City Planning dated the 1st of September, which recommends a number of modifications to your application. I just wanted to ask, madam, if you've had the opportunity to review those reports.
Yes, I have. And in regards to City Planning's report, I've actually worked along with them for those recommendations, and I agree to be proposed. Yep.
Okay, madam, I note from the planning report that there were some changes that you were going to make to your application that you had agreed upon with City Planning. If you'd like to read these changes into the record so that the public knows what you're proposing to change.
Yeah, certainly. So the first proposal is to eliminate variance number 1.
Okay, is
the second is to modify. Yes.
It's being deleted?
I'm sorry. It's being deleted, yes.
Okay, next.
Variance number 3 will be modified. So from the proposed 32.57% to 40%.
Okay, so that's the front yard landscaping. You're increasing from 32.57% to 40%.
That's correct.
Okay, next.
Variance number 4 will be eliminated.
Okay.
And that has to do with the soft landscaping. Okay, that's completely eliminated.
Okay, variance number 4 is deleted. Variance number 5?
Is also deleted.
Okay. Are there any other changes?
No, those are all the changes.
Okay, thank you very much. Just going to ask, is there anything you'd like to, it's pretty clear what you're asking for in the variances we have before us, madam. Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
No, everything is contained in the report, so.
Okay, all right, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, if I could get a motion on this revised application, please note variance number 1, which was the proposed rear balcony, that has been deleted. Variance number 3 has been modified. The proposed front yard landscaping has been increased to 40% from 32.57%. Variance number 4, the front yard soft landscaping variance has been deleted. And variance number 5, the proposed parking space in a front yard has been deleted. So if I could get a motion on that revised application, please. Ms. Sankar?
Okay, yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I won't repeat what you've just stated so eloquently, so I'm going to put forward a motion based on those changes that addresses the September 1st staff report, that this application be approved with the changes that you've already cited, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Madam, your application has been your revised application has been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now on 2742 Bathurst Street, which has been deferred. And we're on item number 33, which is 15 MCRAE Drive. And the agent is Glenn Rubinoff. Mr. Rubinoff, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Can I get, again, sir, if sorry I have to ask you this again, but if I could get your full name and address, please.
Sure. It's Glenn Rubinoff, Rubinoff Design Group, 18 Gloucester Lane, Toronto.
Okay, thank you, sir. Just going through your file here, sir, I note that there is a report from Transportation Services dated the 1st of September of this year. They have no objection to the proposed front yard parking. What you're asking for is pretty clear in the variances we have before us. Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material that we have before us today?
No, it's a pretty straightforward application. The existing house, it's an addition on the front and the back, just filling in, but the existing house is the length it is. It's just filling in the sides effectively.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Sir, my question to Mr. Rubinoff is about variance number 8. Off-street front parking space 1 behind main wall. How would you justify this variance?
Well, I believe that the transportation reviewed this file and didn't have any concern with parking in the front because it's typical in the area. Most people in this area park in front of their house, and it's something that doesn't seem to be much of a concern.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Given the fact there's no comments from city planning and support from the transportation services, I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application without condition.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 34, 102 Donegal Drive. I have one person registered to speak. That is Thomas Goral, G-O-R-A-L. Are you there, sir?
Yes, good afternoon, Chair and committee members. My name is Thomas Goral. I'm the applicant for 102 Donegal.
Okay, thank you, sir. I have, just going through your file, I note that there are no staff comments or recommended conditions attached to your file. I noticed that we have one variance before us that's related to floor space index. Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee, sir, that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
No, we're just asking for the one variance for the rear addition we're doing in the back of the home.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Sir, I just wanted to know from Mr. Goral, this is a semi-detached house, right?
Correct, yes, it's a semi-detached house.
Thank you.
Any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's a straightforward application, and I move this application be approved.
Thank you, sir. Someone to second Mr. Khan's motion? Ms. Sanker seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Item number 35, 62 Hartley Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That is Ben Baghdadi. Are you there, sir?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Yes, this is Bamdad Ben Baghdadi from BBA Design Studio, Inc. I'm the applicant and the architect for this property residing in number 213, 18 Somerset Way, M2N 665, Toronto.
Thank you, sir. I'm just going through your file. I noticed that there are no staff comments or recommended conditions attached to your application. You have 5 variances before us. It's pretty clear what you're asking for in the variances. Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee, sir, that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. We have 2 letters of opposition from our adjacent neighbors that their concern is that this property, before my client purchased this property last year, the previous owner seemed
That the previous owner, which?
individual.
Okay.
The previous owner of this property, before my client purchased this property last year, seems to be renting this property to different people. The reason of this application is for my client and his family to reside in this building as a single family, and they will maintain this property. Actually, my client had a chance to talk to both neighbors on this past weekend and assured them that the property will be maintained, the driveway will be resurfaced, and actually the neighbor offered to cover some cost of the resurfacing the driveway. So both concerns of our neighbors seems to be resolved now.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. It's good to know. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I noticed that part of the addition at the rear of the property overhangs the right-of-way in between the two, you and the neighbor to the south, the mutual driveway. Can you just fill me in on that, please?
Yes, we don't have any right-of-way restriction to build over the first floor. The first floor we cannot encroach, but the second and third floor legally we can encroach, and our neighbor doesn't have any issues with that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Mr. Chair, I have 3 questions. Should I put them together or should I be saying 1, 2, and 3? So I will put my question number 1 to Mr. Baghdadi. Sir, my question number 1 is, in the purpose of your application, you are saying 2-story, 3-story addition, but there is no variance for building height. Explain the justification of application purpose for 3-story.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Khan. We are in an area that 3-story is permitted and the maximum height is 11 meter. Our maximum height is only 10 meter. So we are a meter less than the maximum permitted by law.
Sir, my question number 2 is, you are asking underpinning, but there is no detail for underpinning.
The underpinning will be dealt with the building permit. But if may I ask for my drawings to be on the screen, the drawing number 6 east elevation.
I understand, sir. Your explanation is fine. It's the building department. Okay. Fine. Sure. And my question number 3 is, your variance number 2, FSI exceeds the allowable, and variance number 5, main wall height exceed. Justify.
Yes, may I have, we have similar properties approved by this committee in this neighborhood. If I may ask that my report to be on the screen. We have the property at number 78 Boy Avenue approved at 98% FSI, 101 Boy Avenue. If we can go to page 2, please. Yes, at top of the page, the FSI. These are the approved applications in this neighborhood, which they have approvals as 98%, 100% for 2 other properties. And for wall height, again, at the bottom of the page, you will see that 2 properties that are at 9.33 and 10.48. For the wall height, this is up to interpretation. Some examiners take it to the underside of the ceiling of the 3rd floor. Some take it to the parapet of the 3rd floor. So in this case, our examiner took it to the parapet of the 3rd floor, which is 10 meter. We tried our best to reduce the massing by stepping back and creating a slope roof facing the street. And actually, the front wall of the building, we do comply with the wall height. It's just the side walls.
Sir, I'm dealing with your application, not the one you are citing. I have nothing to do with them. But I'm looking at your, and you have to justify 0.9. That is way, way high to approve.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Because we had walls from the committee in this neighborhood with the same wall height as it's in front of you on page 2, which 10.48 was approved at number 47 Chamberlain Avenue.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Our wall height is, sure.
Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Although there is no staff recommendation for this, but after speaking to Mr. Baghdadi, I find variance number 2 far exceeds the allowable FSI, and 5 main wall height exceed again the maximum zoning bylaw and official plans allow. And these are not complying with the zoning bylaws and official plan, and these are not minor in my understanding. The purpose of application on the stated clearly substantiated and details missing. Therefore, I move this application be refused.
I have a motion for Mr. Khan to refuse the application. Someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, that motion, there's a tie. I won't support that motion. Can I get another motion, please? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Having listened to the explanations by the applicant and the fact that the departments have reviewed this and they have chosen not to comment or express any concerns, I move approval of this application.
Okay, someone to second that motion? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Ms. Sankar and Mr. Khan dissenting. I'll support Mr. Hunt's motion, and that motion carries. Sir, your application's been approved without condition. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll go to item number 36, 64 Cheritan Avenue. Item number 36, 64 Cheritan Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. Excuse me, the agent is Elias Katzis. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please, sir?
Elias Katzis, 30 Mayborn Avenue.
Okay, thank you, sir. Gone through your application. I note that there are no staff comments or recommendations attached to your file. We have one variance before us that's related to floor space index. Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon, sir?
Just a quick overview. We're proposing a one-story addition in the back of the home. The addition will have a washroom and access to the backyard. Currently, there is no washroom on the first floor. That's the reason we are doing this addition. We won't be interfering with any landscaping, or there's no changes, and would be limited to the existing deck footprint, which will be demolished. The reason I believe for the variance is because the existing building is currently above the floor space index. It's a very old home. It's in an older part of Toronto, and we probably supersede these bylaws. The current floor space index for the home as is 0.41.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Does the committee, oh, I'm sorry, sir, is there, you have more to add?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This proposal meets the 4 tests for minor variance, in my opinion. I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application without condition.
Okay, thank you. Someone to second Mr. Kidd's motion. Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? And motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved, subject without condition. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Item number 37, 171 Craighurst Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That's Ty Rook. Are you there, sir?
Yes, sir. It's Tay Rook. I'm the planner for the owners of the property of 171 Craighurst Avenue.
Okay, thank you, sir. I have 3 reports on file with your application. There's one recommended condition from Urban Forestry. There's a Transportation Services report dated the 1st of September. They had no objections to front yard parking. And there's a City Planning report dated the 30th of August, which recommends refusing variance number 4 for the proposed front yard setback and variance number 7 for the proposed building length. So I'd like to know, sir, is if we could get your comments on these, particularly this City Planning report.
Sure, sir. As the committee is aware, this matter was before the committee on March 22nd, 2022. And at that time, it was for a second-story rear addition, which sought a variance for building length at 16.99 meters. Since the matter was deferred because we wanted to have the opportunity to speak with the neighbors because on the immediate sides at 167 and also at 173, they raised some concerns about the proposal. As a result of that, we revised our application by reducing the length of the dwelling and creating a 3rd-story addition at the rear and a front porch at the front. This created some additional variances. However, we now both have support from both either sides of the neighbors on 167 and 173. As it relates to the variances before you, there is variances related to the front yard setback. And if you look at the presentation materials that I'd submitted, there is an area context map, and in front of and what you see is a blue dashed line that runs across the front yards of the property. And what you find in this neighborhood is one in which where the front yard setback isn't consistent as you go along the block, along Craighurst or along the other streets as well. So you'll note that there's some houses that exceed beyond that blue line that are recessed behind that blue line as well. In addition to that, if you go to the site plan, which is the next slide, you'll note that on the adjacent properties, there's existing covered porches that also are similar to what we're proposing in terms of the front yard setback. So that green area that's been highlighted on the right represents the bigger square being the enclosed porch, the porch area, and also the smaller rectangle being a cantilever bay window. But what you'll note is that on either sides of the property, you'll see enclosed porches that stick out closer to the front lot line. And this is very reflective in terms of what's characteristic in terms of the street pattern and from a streetscape perspective. In addition to that, there is variances related to, you'll note that also that this original application was for 16.99 meters, and the application was subsequently revised as indicated to appease the neighbors, which we now have support from. You'll note that the planning department didn't have an issue with the building length at 16.99. However, they're raising an issue with the building length when it's actually shorter than the original proposal. We don't quite understand that from a planning perspective. And what you also find, if you look at the area context map, is building lengths in the area of 17 meters that are similar, that are beyond the 14 meters or beyond what's being proposed on the subject site. So, for example, at just immediately to the east at 161 Craighurst, that building is approximately 17 meters and slightly past 17 meters. And you look on the north side, you have north side of Craighurst, you have buildings or dwellings that are close to 17 meters or even beyond 17 meters. So we're not proposing anything that's out of characteristic. We're not seeking variances to the front yards, to the side yard setbacks or to the rear yard setbacks. And from a massing perspective and the way it's presenting to the street, it would be very similar to what's existing in the area from a contextual, from a massing perspective, and even from a height perspective. You'll also note that there is a main wall height related to the side exterior walls, but also at the same time, there's no overall building height being sought, building height variance being sought for this application as well. And the reason for the main wall height variance is basically because of the style of roof. It's a mansard style roof along the side wall, which creates the side exterior variance. But you'll note that on the east side of the property, there is a separation of 1.2 meters. So from a impact perspective to the adjacent neighbor at 167 and also to 173, it would be minimal, and it would be something that's already, from an impact and views perspective, is something that's already anticipated by the bylaw. And once again, we do have support from either sides of the neighbors. The other reason that the proposal was changed, revised, was because there was one was to address the neighbors. The other was there was a tree at the rear yard, and you see that on the site plan, which is that dashed circle at the back on the left side of the site plan. And the reason to reduce the length of the house was to save that tree. And you'll note that forestry has no comments related to this proposal as a result of that. And we believe that this was a very collaborative effort between the neighbors and the applicant to come with a design that's appropriate and that would satisfactory and also protects the trees, in addition to present a house that's that is in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. I believe those are my points, but if there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, sir, I would like to ask, Transportation Services has commented on variance number 6, which is parking space length, but they haven't commented on the variance number 2, front parking, when it is not allowed and it is the abutting street. Would you kindly talk about it?
Sure, sir. The current situation is one in which the front parking already exists on the site. So it's basically a reflection of the existing circumstances. So currently the car parks in the front yard, and quite frankly, there's no space in between the houses to get into the backyard. So there is a parking space in the front currently, and we're just maintaining that.
And if I could add to that, Mr. Khan, the Transportation Services report in the comments section says, as such, the parking space in the front yard is acceptable. It's in the comments section, the last sentence.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for that.
Okay. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I think I'm feeling okay with the explanations provided by the applicant here today, as well as seeing the numbers of letters of support and him addressing, some of the concerns that were raised. So what I will do is and there's no objections with transportation. I'm going to put forward a motion, therefore, to approve this application, and I'll make it subject to forestry, and that's going to be my motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously, sir. Your application's been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry conditions.
Thank you very much.
We're now on item number 38. 32 Saintfield Avenue. I have one person registered to speak, and that is Ida Evangelista. Are you there, madam? Ms. Evangelista, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Just one second. Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties right now.
Oh, that's
my
fine.
apologies.
Thank you. I'm just gone through your file, madam. I noticed that there are a number of reports on file with your application. There's a Transportation Services report dated the 1st of September, which had no objections to the proposed driveway width. There's a report, looks like an old one from Heritage Planning dated the 7th of April of 2022, which recommended deferring the application until the 7th of August, 2022, to determine if the existing building is to receive a heritage designation. And there's also a report from Urban Forestry, which is recommending refusal, as the proposal will result in removing a privately owned honey locust tree. So in view of those, Madam, you may want to give us a brief presentation. I'd also like to hear what's taken place with respect to heritage planning, because the 4-month period is expired, so I'm trying to figure out, and there's nothing further attached to your file with respect to any other comments from heritage planning. So if you could fill us in this regard.
Yes, Mr. Chair. So Ida Evangelista on behalf of the owners, the Paluzos. And what happened, so this was before the committee, it was deferred. Heritage planning came back, no comments. As you have in front of you, you have not received any comments either. We've gone through all the proper channels. And then what happened, it was taking, quite some time. And you'll see the submission. From my submission, you'll see what has happened is they've gone forward with the construction. They received a building permit, and they were hanging in the balance. So during this course of time, things have happened, right? So now this has to become a multi-generational home. They have aging parents, and we've had to increase the footprint to include an additional bedroom for the parents, and they have their children that also live with them. So again, things have changed over the course of time, from when they got the building permit to being here today. So what we have in front of you now, as you've seen from Transportation's report, they have they're okay with the 7.77 meter width, because it is a better situation than what it currently is now. Because as it is now, the driveway opens up to 25 meters. Sorry, my apologies. The driveway opens up to 25 meters. At the front of the driveway, it's wider than what we are currently proposing, about over 1.5 meters wider than what we are currently proposing. Forestry, the memorandum that they submitted denying variance 1 related to the width of the driveway, 7.77 meters. As I mentioned, so the honey locust tree is on private property, and it is on that side, same side as where the driveway currently exists. So I respectfully submit that the tree, the tree will be kept. It will be, looked after. It will be, there will be a tree protection around it. So there is a driveway already there. We're currently working with an existing situation in that respect. So I don't believe that the honey locust tree will be damaged or injured in any which way. We have no overall height for the home in this particular area, and you could see from if you refer to my photos that I submitted, you'll see that what we're proposing, the immediate context in this neighborhood, this is very characteristic to what is in the neighborhood. You'll note that just on Saintfield alone is extremely characteristic. That's what's happening in the neighborhood. And 68, 70, 72 Park Lane Circle is behind the home that I am proposing at 32 Saintfield. And again, you'll see that, the homes are quite large in this area. So we do have a coverage variance. So if the front of the house has a covered porch, just to create some and add some articulation to the front facade. So the house itself is approximately 29% coverage because the porch takes up about 10.94 square meters. So in light of the other comment that I would like to make is the height. So we do comply with the height in the new bylaw. However, we do not comply with the height in the old bylaw. And that is because it's taken from the center line of the street. However, the interpretation of the zoning examiner, he's taken it from the center line of the street to the top of the roof. We have tried to contact the zoning examiner just to, have some verbal conversation with them, and we've not had any luck. However, as we know, that's
Madam,
typically
can you
what
summarize,
happens.
please?
But yes. So, Mr. Chair, members, this is a form of intensification that meets the 4 test. It is in keeping with the purpose and intent of the OPs and zoning bylaw. It is appropriate and desirable for the neighborhood, and it is characteristic to what is prevailing in the neighborhood.
Thank you. Can I ask again? I'm a little puzzled by this heritage planning report. So what I'm hearing is that heritage planning, well, it seems to me that whatever heritage planning did never took place within 4 months, and therefore, I guess this property does not have a heritage designation. Is that correct?
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? Mr. Kidd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just curious, how'd you get a building permit without Committee of Adjustment approval?
Through you, Mr. Chair. So because everything was, it was taking a great deal of time. And at that time, when they decided, which direction do we take? So what happened was they worked out that they could, they actually went forward with a building permit that complies. And what happened is from June until today, from June until, a couple of months ago, things have transpired in the family. And then it was, once they sat down again to take a look at the plans, they realized it's just not going to be feasible with mobility for the aging parents, the elevator, and just, as we all know now, multi-generational homes that come into effect, you need a little bit more space. But with the building permit, it did comply. And with that 5th bedroom, just tipped the scale just a little bit.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Khan, did you have a question?
Sir, I have a very small and brief question. Madam Evangelista was mentioning about building height. Madam, 10 meter is the maximum height, whether old or new. But you are asking 12.34 meter high. That is quite a bit.
May I respond? Through you, Mr. Chair, Member Khan, I understand your comment, and I will say that we do not have a height bylaw under the new bylaw. The height variance that we do have is under the old North York bylaw, which is taken from the center line of the road to the midpoint of the roof. However, in this particular situation, the zoning examiner took it to the top of the roof. And that's why we have the height variance that we have asked for, because it is taken from the middle of the road.
That being said, though, the height of the building currently will comply with bylaw 569/2013, correct?
Mr. Chair, most definitely.
Okay,
it does comply.
Thank you. Does the committee have any further questions?
And as you know,
I'm sorry, can you, would you like to finish your thought?
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Chair. I was just going to say we have worked very closely with planning, and planning is obviously in agreement, and they are satisfied with what we're proposing.
Okay, thank you.
Because again, it is very characteristic.
Thank you. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I accept the explanation provided by the applicant with regard to the changes that have resulted from the multi-generational family, the addition. But I don't see how that affects the driveway. So I'm gonna put forward a motion to accept the application, but amended to deny variance number 1. As subject to forestry.
Wow.
Okay. We have a motion from Mr. Kidd to, let me just make sure, Mr. Kidd, I've got this right, to refuse variance number 1, but approve variances 2 and variances 3. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Can I get someone to second that motion? Mr. Hunt seconds that motion. All those in favor? That's a tie vote. I won't support that motion. Can I get another motion? Pardon me? That was Ms. Sankar and Mr. Khan. I'm sorry, Ms. Sankar, can I get your motion?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Actually, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. I made a mistake. I actually support the motion created by.
Okay, I think we'll have to redo that. Let's just redo that motion.
Yeah, sorry about that, Mr. Chair. I just had to double check again, and I do support it.
Okay, well, so we have a motion from Mr. Kidd to approve variances number 2 and variances number 3, but refuse variance number 1. So have someone to second that motion. Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Khan dissenting. That motion carries. Variance number 1 is refused, but variances number 2 and 3 are approved. Well, thank you very much. We're on item number 39, 222 Saint Germain. I have 3 people registered to speak. The agent is Ali Shakiri. Are you there, sir?
Yes, sir. Ali Shakiri, 326 Shepherd Avenue East.
Thank you, sir. Just going through the file, sir, I note that there is only 1 condition registered to this application. That's from urban forestry. That's the urban forestry condition. I note that you have, just let me see here. We have 2 variances before us. If you could give us a very brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal, sir.
Sure. If I can have my support material displayed, thank you. So the 2 variances we are requesting, it's number 1 is for the floor space index and increasing to 0.83 from 0.6, and the other one is the wall height increasing to 9.05 from 7.5. So the if we go to page B, Exhibit B, or Exhibit C, actually, sorry. Yeah, that's for the height. So with the help of that variance number 2, which is the wall height, we can actually decrease the building mass. So the red dotted line is showing the as of right building mass that we could have by means of a mansard roof. So the total height allowable in this neighborhood is 10 meter, which you see on the red on the right side, and on the left side you see 7.5 meter to on the side of the eaves. that is also prescribed by the zoning bylaw. So if we added the yellow shaded mass on top of this house, basically we would have increased the building mass and we wouldn't need any wall height variance. So I would say that the second variance is helping us to reduce the mass of the building. As for the number one, if you go to the other pages, I have shown a case study of the other houses in the neighborhood that have been granted the floor space index. Once again, I make a mention that we do this study to make sure we are not setting a new precedent. If we look at page 6 of the presentation, I guess, yes, this page, that is showing number 335 St. Germain Avenue, for example, which has a floor space index approval of 1.12. That is majorly more than what we're asking. We do not need that much, and as such, we haven't requested that. We just requested that 83%, which is going to help us having a 2,000 square foot house. That 2,000 square foot house is I would say very small based on the houses that I can see in the area or anywhere in town. 2,000 square foot is very, very modest size for a house, and that's what we're achieving with the 0.83 that we're asking. Same house that you can see on display, they have been granted a 10.3 meter height of the building, so the total height is 10.3. We're asking for less than that for the wall height. So again, the mass of this building is majorly less than the comparables in the neighborhood. And I have been in contact with one of the neighbors that immediately adjacent to the east side, which they requested some modifications on the downspouts, as well as asking for the privacy screen on the rear side, the deck that we have on the rear side. We added those as per the request of the east side neighbor. We also thanked them for the very, very thoughtful suggestions, and the revised drawing that you have before you reflect those changes. I have no further comments, and I'm happy to answer any question. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Shakiri, it's a semi-detached house?
No, this is a single dwelling.
What is it?
It is a single house. It's a single dwelling unit, not a semi-detached.
Thank you.
Any further questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person on the list. I have an Arlene Baker. Are you there?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. If you could give us your full name and address, please.
Yes, Arlene Baker. I live at 224 St. Germain.
Thank you, madam. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Yes. So my property is immediately adjacent and to the west of the proposed plan. While I'm not opposed to development in general, the proposed building for this much smaller lot is what concerns us the most. In relation to variance 1 and 2, the size of the proposed floor space index, the height of the rear main wall, and the extended backyard deck will significantly reduce the lot's green space and sunlight for adjacent properties, including my own. I'm also concerned about the required space, including depth for excavation. There is very little space germane, so there's increased risk of neighboring property damage and soil erosion. This not only includes nearby buildings, but also adjacent fencing, walkways between the homes, and the attached driveways or parking pad, which we require for our car. I do see that recently revised plans now include privacy screens on the east and west sides of the back deck to address the privacy concerns, and that's appreciated. But the property to the north will still be exposed. As well, the extended walkout and back deck also appear to compromise the only mature tree on the property. Will the tree be spared, or will it ultimately be removed along with all of the other trees on the property? It's not very clear at this point. If the lot was larger, and again, it's because this lot is significantly smaller compared to others down the stretch of the block, If the lot was larger, the proposed dwelling wouldn't be such an issue, but the space for 222 St. Germain is simply too small for a house of this size. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person on the list. Jeffrey Roberts, are you there, sir?
Hello. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Sure, it's Jeffrey Roberts, 220 St. Germain Avenue.
Okay, thank you, sir. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Thank you to the committee for allowing me to speak today about the proposed development at 222 St. Germain Avenue. We are the family which is the immediate neighbor on the east side of the proposed new property. We've lived in our home for 28 years. Since my original letter of objection, I reached out to the agent and owners of the proposed development, and while the agent indicated that he could not speak on behalf of the owner, the agent did make some changes to the plans to address some of our concerns. Other than that, I'm not aware if the owner has made any effort to consult neighbors. We have concerns about the height and length of the building, deck, and rear stairs of this proposed home related to privacy and overlook of our homes given the short depth of this lot, which has already been spoken about. And I do note that there are 7 letters of objection to this application which echo similar concerns. Separately, unrelated to the physical home, if this application is approved, we support the removal of the large tree in the rear yard, which will be impacted by the proposed home, although urban forestry did not identify this as a condition for approval. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go back to the agent, Mr. Shakiri, if you'd like to reply to the comments made by the previous speakers.
Yes, indeed. The floor space index was mentioned again. I think I have submitted evidence in St. Germain Avenue that what we're asking is not nearly what's been approved in the area. So I think we're in keeping with the context of the immediate neighborhood when it comes to FSI. Definitely, in my opinion, I hope you agree to that. The rear deck, I think I heard something about that would be exposed to the north side. Not quite sure if the neighbor on the west is suggesting that we put the privacy screen on the north side of the deck, basically covering all the deck on 3 sides. That wouldn't sound right to me, so maybe I misunderstood that. There was the depth of the excavation mentioned. I don't think if that's the concern of this hearing, that is going to be dealt with at the time of a building permit, but the distance between this house and the neighbor on to the west, number 224, which made the comment, is massive. You have the site plan on display, and you can see that the distance is like more than 2 meters. That has, I mean, I would say, as an expert, that is a very, very generous distance not to cause any problem if a competent person is doing any excavation over there. But about the driveway is just, we're not asking any variance for the driveway. We're trying to just stay within the bylaw. No variance is requested. It's a very modest kind of driveway accessing an integral garage, which is not a variance. And it was mentioned that this house is too big for this lot, and again, it's a 2,000 square foot. It's not. It's a very, very small house, and but that FSI, it controls the volume of the house, the massing of the house. If the lot is bigger, it allows for a bigger house. If the lot is small, then that is relatively giving us the opportunity to basically make a smaller house, but to that number, and that's what everybody else has done. So, and that's why they basically legislated with a number that reflects the fraction of the lot size. So the smaller the lot, the house is going to be smaller. So we compare the FSI to FSI, and that's going to be a fair comparison. Regards to the comment from our neighbor to the east side, number 220, Yes, I did speak with him, and I didn't mention that I cannot speak on behalf of my clients. Of course, I can speak on behalf of my clients as I'm doing right now, but the issues of the waterproofing of the basement wall at the time of construction came up and said, well, I don't have clearance to speak about any construction matter or anything basically that is not a concern. The Committee of Adjustment is not the clearance, my clearance to speak with. And I advised them to talk with the homeowner regarding that matter. Regarding the tree, I'm not sure that removal of that tree is required. And I mean, I'm surprised that for the second time today that I'm hearing from a neighbor that they're requesting removal of a tree, but that is perhaps something they can talk with their excuse me, with their neighbor to come with some sort of agreement, which I believe is not a proposal on a minor variance application. I have no further comments, and if there is any question, I'd be more than glad to answer.
Thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Having listened to both the interested parties and the applicant, and given that there have been no department concerns or comments other than the September 1st urban forestry requirement, which will be used to deal with issues of trees, I would move approval of this application.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Someone to second that? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Khan dissenting. That motion carries. Sir, your application's been approved subject to urban forestry conditions.
Thank you very much, and good evening.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That closes our session for today. Thank you very much. If I could get a motion to terminate. Mr. Khan, I second that. Thank you. Have a great evening, folks. We'll see you soon.
Bye now.
Everyone.